Hello everyone, welcome back to Football Manager 2017 with Newcastle United, and today we're going to do something a little bit different, something we've not actually done yet in this entire series, which bearing in mind that we're 8 seasons into this game now, and let's just have a look at how other clubs are going to be doing. I'm not actually going to play any matches today, we're just going to take a look at how other teams are sort of lining up. We'll take a look at how the best sort of players in the world are getting on, which clubs they're at, how much they're worth, and various other things alongside it too. So right now, the big team at the moment is Arsenal. They are the Champions League winners. They're a pretty big team in the Premier League right now too. Currently managed by Jurgen Klopp, which is quite interesting. Mustafi is their captain. Aaron Ramsey's still there as vice captain. But if we take a look at their squad, you'll see that they've still got quite a few players they had before. They've still got the likes of Chesney, Bellerin, Emre Can is there now, Kondogbia. They've got Rabiot, our former player. Oxlade-Chamberlain's in there as well. And they're a pretty strong team. Their star player is Hector Godinez from Mexico. He is worth £42.5 million, but he is a defender, and his stats don't actually look all that impressive to me. I suppose it's his off-the-ball positioning. Marking's pretty good, as is his tackling. Those are the reasons he's quite high up. His natural fitness, not too awful either. But Arsenal are doing quite well. I'm really surprised that they have Jurgen Klopp in charge. I didn't quite realise that. Manchester City are a team who've been a little bit spotty since Pep did get, I think, taken to the Spanish national team. It's something that tends to happen quite a lot in this game. But they've got a very strong team too, but it's usually made up of older players. So obviously they've got Alex Moreira, former goalkeeper. We know how good he is. They signed Lindelof, who is in real life is a big target for several Premier League clubs. John Stones is still there as well, playing a lot of games. Jose Jimenez is a pretty good defender. But they've also got the likes of Antoine Griezmann, who's still absolutely fantastic. Kevin De Bruyne is still there. They've got Dele Alli, which is pretty good. Barbosa's a very good player. They've obviously just signed Divock Origi, not that he's going to be playing much, which is exactly what I thought would happen. And Al Saide is an absolutely brilliant player on the left wing, one that I'd love to sign if possible. He doesn't really play as an inside forward though, which would take quite a bit of work, but just look at his physicals. They're absolutely off the charts. He's such a brilliant player. Manchester United are also doing pretty well at the moment. They're one of the only clubs still with the original manager in charge. Jose Mourinho is still there. He did rebuild the club pretty spectacularly. They have won the league and a few other competitions alongside it, but they've still got De Gea in goal. Timothy Fosu-Mensah has become a very good player, as is Laporte. They've still got Eric Bailly there. Sol is there. Luke Shaw's still there. Because they've had the same manager, I think they still got the same spine. So Paul Pogba obviously still there. Ruben Neves, a very good player as well. Matthew Baker's very good on the left wing. They've brought in Pulisic, a former player. Rashford obviously was only 19 when this game started. Harry Kane up front alongside Morata, and Martinez, I think, is another very, very good striker. He's worth £50 million, 17, 17, 16 on the three most important things for me, the dribbling, finishing and first touch. He's also got very good physicals. And there's a lot of very, very good regions in the Premier League, which is why it's so difficult for us to win anything, because the big clubs are just buying all of the best regions from clubs like Benfica, who are able to train and naturalise South American players. Now, a team that are really struggling at the moment are Chelsea. They're down in 17th in the league after seven games. They've got Roberto Mancini in charge, and I think it says a lot about their team that their key players are the likes of Christensen, who's a pretty good defender, don't get me wrong. I did try to sign him, which is why he's scouted, and Kurt Zouma, who now must be getting on quite a bit. He's 29 actually, he's not that old. They've still got Versailles, our former player in the squad, and he's still playing at right back quite a lot. And then they've got Verratti in midfield, Fred, Kingsley Coman's at the club, as is Verland. Scott Orr, he's not playing at all, quite inevitably. Eden Hazard's still there. He must be in his 30s now. He's 33 years old, so he won't be around for too much longer. So I think they're struggling to kind of rebuild the team with regions, as many other clubs have. But West Ham are probably the most impressive club in the Premier League. They have just a lot of very, very, very good regions, and I think a lot of them have come through their academy. The likes of Gareth Breen, who is absolutely phenomenal, another player I was looking at signing. Ante Coric, a lot of people are familiar with from previous games. Z Gomez, we know exactly how good he is, and he's gone from strength to strength since leaving. Joel Campbell, a former player, still plays quite a lot. Timo Werner, Gnabry. They poached Højbjerg from Southampton when Southampton were relegated. Ricardo Rodriguez, another well-known player. They just bought very, very well in this game, and it set them up very well in the league, and they've been consistently in and around the top 4 or 5 positions, sort of replacing Liverpool almost in their position. Liverpool, who are now managed by a bloke called Lee Johnson, you can see that their form has absolutely just tanked, finishing 7th and 8th on a regular basis. It's the Liverpool we've known over the last 10 years, really. Spurs had a pretty good time not too long ago. They did have one awful season where they finished 12th and then got back up to 6th last time round. But they've got a Champions League under their belt now. They did qualify for the Champions League last season as well. So they've been doing quite well. But in terms of the biggest players in the world, it's sort of Paris Saint-Germain, almost unsurprisingly, who have them all. You might remember they did win the Champions League, I think, 4 years in a row. And they've got the biggest players for a reason. Matthias Pereira is the most expensive player in the world right now, and you can see why. He's got 16s in just about every single area of his game. It's just unbelievable. His history is that he came from Brazil, unsurprisingly, but look at these average ratings, well over the 7.5s. With goals and assists matching at similar levels. They've also got Philip Seeger, who I think is a striker. 18 finishing, 18 first touch, 18, 18, 18. It's absolutely unbelievable. He's actually a German player who they took recently from Schalke for £85 million. He's not really played that much for them, though, which is quite interesting. So he might be somebody to keep an eye on and see if they're willing to maybe let him go. Renato Sanchez, everybody knows about. He's a very good player in this game. They signed him for 66 million from Southampton, who paid 77 million for him and then got relegated. But he's just a very consistent performer in midfield. Manchester City obviously have a couple of very good players in there. Martial is back at PSG and playing very, very well. Assunção and Martinez are at Manchester United, and there's must be about 12 players, all over £50 million rating, and there's Morton Simonsen up there as well. He definitely deserves to be there. Even more PSG players down here. This is why they're such a good team. For those who said I should sign Thiago Maia, I think that's a bit impossible when he's at PSG and played as well as he is. He is only 27 years old. Breland Bolo's up there at £42 million. Divock Origi, one of our former players as well. Gareth Breen is probably England's highest rated striker. In fact, he is. Christian Pulisic is up there, but a lot of these fees are obviously related to transfers that happened. Rabiot, another of our former players, and it shows that we do have some very, very good players, or at least have had good players. Imperiale up there, and we are competing with the biggest clubs in the world, but we've just got some work to do before we can match the financial firepower of teams like PSG and Man City, and we can really build out our club a bit more. If we try and take a look at the Champions League and its history, if we look at the past winners, you'll see that it has been PSG pretty much who've dominated the competition. Last season, Arsenal beat West Ham in the Champions League final. That is a reflection of how good West Ham have been, that they made it all the way to the Champions League final. It should also give us some hope that we might be able to win the competition this season. The season before, it was Spurs and Porto in the final, and we're getting to that point in the game where the big clubs just aren't getting there anymore. Barcelona and Real Madrid haven't been there since the 18-19 season. And then PSG went on their winning run of 3 years in a row. But it's fallen back into English hands the last couple of years, and I'm hoping that at the Millennium Stadium we will be able to win the Champions League this time around. We'll just have to see how we can do with that. In terms of other competitions, if we go to the competitions page and take a look at the FA Cup and who's won this in the past few seasons, the key ones have been Manchester United. They've won it 3 times, and I think it's pretty much kept Mourinho in a job when they've had disappointing league seasons, is that he's won silverware quite consistently. But we've also done well in the competition. 3 final appearances, 2 victories is not bad at all. Spurs won it last time around. Chelsea won the first one. West Ham appearing in the silverware as well. In the EFL Cup, that has been pretty much just us and Manchester City from memory. United won that, and then Spurs the year after, but Man City have won it 4 times in 5 years. We've won it twice. It's sort of just gone between us and Man City over the last 6 years, and I'm hoping we can defend this competition this season, because I like getting silverware in as often as possible. And the Premier League has sort of been absolutely all over the place. Manchester United, the only team to win it 2 years in a row. But otherwise, it was Arsenal City, Arsenal City. Then Spurs had that season where they finished above us, which was really frustrating. But they did finish second the 3 years before that. And then United pipped City twice, and we finished runners-up last year, a little bit unexpectedly. But we were in the title race right up until the end of the season last time around. I'm not so sure how we're going to do this season. I feel it's a bit of a transitional season as we bring in some very good regens, and I think that will hinder our chances of winning the Premier League. And unless we fix that away form, we're just not going to be able to really win the biggest competitions. I'm hoping we can have a good Champions League run down. We do still have a lot of money in the transfer kitty, £81 million and 300 grand a week available. So I think I might look to make one very big marquee signing in the January transfer window. But that's going to be it, really. It was just a little summary to take a look at some of the stuff I don't talk about very much in the series. If there's other things you want to see or would like me to take a look at, do let me know in the comments, and drop a like on the video if you'd like me to do this sort of video a bit more regularly. Normal service will resume tomorrow. We'll get through these very big games against Juventus and at home against West Ham, and also see if we can pick up that away form. I am still looking into tactics for our away matches, so do link me to any good tactics you have that work for you away from home. And drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, see ya.